Okay. First, I gotta say congratulations to Errol Spence Jr. for becoming the IBF welterweight champion of the world. Now, I have to question what the fuck happened to Kell Brook. All right, I'm sure people looked at this fight and have a different perspective of how this went down. But all I gotta say is, why quit while you're that late in the fight and it's in the 11th round, which I believe you're up. I had Kell Brook winning the fight by maybe 2 rounds, 1 or 2 rounds. Okay, of course, Errol Spence had gotten the knockdown in the I think it was in the 10th round or the 9th round, which kind of closed the gap between the two because Errol Spence was starting to come on after the 6th round because I had Kell winning the first 5 rounds. Maybe the 6th round could have gone back and forth. It was even the 5th round, but I had Kell up because Errol Spence, though he was getting off his shots a little early, but he was giving away the mid and late rounds to Kell Brook and going to the first 5 or 6 rounds. He was getting countered to death. He was getting comboed to death. He was, the thing about Errol Spence is that the Achilles heel he does have is a tremendous fighter that he is. He leaves himself wide open most of the time, and he's very vulnerable to counters because Kell Brook would just counter him like it was just nothing, with the counter left jabs. So I know that Errol Spence called out Keith Thurman. He wants that unification fight. But, if I was Thurman, I'm looking at that. I'm saying, you know what? This guy is very vulnerable to hooks. Not hooks, I'm sorry, to counters. So I'd be able to exploit that. And as long as I smother his punches, he may not get enough leverage to throw those body punches. So, and that's the one thing about Errol Spence. He's dangerous when it comes to that inside fighting. And that's why Kell was trying as hard as he could to smother him and whatnot. So that way he doesn't give him any chances to get those shots off. But to Spence's credit, he was finding a way to get his body shots off, and he was able to wear Kell down going into the late 6th and 7th and 8th, 9th and 10th round. So he was able to wear him down. And the reason why Kell quit, or he quit, is because he was bothered by his left eye. Now, the left eye, it was puffed up, but he could still see from the eye. This is what doesn't get me. Yes, it was swollen up, but it was not badly damaged as it was compared to on his right eye that he suffered against Gennady Golovkin. In that fight, he didn't quit. His corner threw in a towel. He was still on his feet. But in this particular fight, he quit. And some are probably going to question, where's your heart, man? And no disrespect, I know the eyes, the eye injury could be a little serious. I don't know from the looks of it. I don't know. If anybody has more information on it, please let me know. But all I can tell you is that his home crowd booed him after the fight had stopped. Okay? They booed him. And did he deserve that? Did he deserve that type of chatter? That type of reaction from the crowd? Maybe not. I don't think so. But looking at it from their perspective, they felt that he could have gone on with the fight. It was that late. He could have carried on another couple more rounds. He could have won it. Or the fight could have been ruled a draw given that the knockdown that Errol Spence had gotten on Brook, and he was able to close the gap just a little bit. But then again, like I said, I had Brook up by two rounds going into that 11th round. So yeah, definitely, let's not get it twisted here, because this is definitely a very, very tough fight for Errol Spence. Very difficult fight. And there was a couple of times in this fight that he was getting hurt by Kell's straight rights. So definitely, good win, for him. So, he's got the IBF strap now. So definitely he wants that unification bout with Keith Thurman. But the thing is, he's not going to get that anytime soon, because Keith Thurman is going to be out until next year. But I know there's talk about Terrence Crawford moving up in weight, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But even if you picture a Terrence Crawford fight versus Errol Spence, I'm going to be real, y'all. I like Errol Spence, but I see Terrence Crawford win that fight based off the fact that Errol Spence was getting countered like it was just like 90% of the time, 80% of the time. Terrence Crawford would eat that up. He would eat those. He would counter Errol Spence like crazy. And he's a very effective, switch hitter. So definitely, definitely I'm picking Crawford to win that fight if it ever got made, in my opinion. But where does two fighters go from here? I think that Kell Brook, I don't see him fighting that welterweight again. He's going to move up. But the thing is, people are going to question his heart now, given the fact that he just gave up. I just don't understand it. In my opinion, he could have continued on. His corner could have thought that way too, because they saw him win this fight. So, Yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't have no problem if some of you had it scored a draw going in, but I just thought that Kell just got the best of Errol Spence going into the mid and late rounds, mid late going. I mean, not mid late rounds, but going in while in the rounds, he got the best of him in the mid and in the late towards the round, in the course of the rounds, I should say. So, yeah, man, I just don't. Yeah, I'm just baffled, to be honest with you guys. But anyways, again, congratulations to Errol Spence. He is my countryman. I was supporting him going into this fight, so definitely got a bright future, man. I like to see him in more bigger fights. Now, as far as Manny Pacquiao's concerned, nah, Manny Pacquiao's not going nowhere near Errol Spence. Let's be honest, he ain't going near him. So, Danny Garcia's there, Adrian Broner's there, but obviously Adrian Broner's not gonna want that fight because we know Broner got beat the fuck up in sparring by Errol Spence. But then again, sparring is a different story. That's sparring. This is the pros. But as far as Broner's attitude towards elite fighters, nah, he's not gonna go near this guy. But let me know what your thoughts about this. Did you see this fight differently? Did you have Spence winning this fight going in before the stoppage, or did you have Brook win this fight before the stoppage, or did you have a draw? To me, like I said, I have no problem with the draw or the Brook up by a couple rounds. As far as Spence being up, okay, maybe there's a little bit debate, but to me, I felt that he just let Brook get the best of him in the middle and the late going into the rounds, in the course of the rounds. But those are my thoughts. I'm out. Peace.